The first sound I heard when I came back to myself was not my wife's voice. It was the steady beep of a heart monitor. Then a nurse murmuring that my blood pressure had stabilized. Then the painful scrape of my own throat as I tried to ask one question. "Where's Vanessa?" The nurse leaned over me with professional gentleness. "Mr. Mercer, please don't try to sit up yet. Your appendix ruptured before they got you into surgery. You're out now. You're safe. Safe." That was a strange word to hear when my body felt like it had been cut open, emptied, stitched together, and returned to me by strangers. I swallowed against the dryness in my throat. My wife. The nurse's smile tightened slightly. Most people would not have noticed. I noticed. "We tried to reach her," she said carefully. "Several times. We left messages." For a few seconds, I stared at the ceiling tiles and tried to make sense of that. Vanessa was my emergency contact. She had been my emergency contact for 7 years of marriage and for 2 years before that. Her number sat at the top of every medical form, every insurance document, every password-protected file that mattered. If I could not speak for myself, she was supposed to be the person the hospital called. "How many times?" I asked. The nurse hesitated. "I don't have the exact count in front of me." That meant more than once. "Please get it," I said. "Mr. Mercer, you need to rest." I almost died without my wife answering the phone, I said. My voice was rough but very calm. "Please get it." She studied me for a moment, then nodded and left. I turned my head toward the bedside table. My phone was inside a clear plastic hospital bag, along with my wallet, my watch, and the wedding ring they had removed before surgery. The ring looked smaller in that bag. I reached for the phone. Pain ripped through my abdomen, hot and sharp, but I kept going. My hand shook as I unlocked the screen. There were missed calls from an unknown hospital number. There were also 2 texts from my sister, Mia, both sent around midnight. "Ryan, call me when you wake up. The hospital found my number in your phone after they couldn't reach Vanessa. I'm here. Surgery went okay. Don't panic when you see this." I closed my eyes. The hospital had searched my phone for someone else because my wife had not answered. Then I saw the notification. Vanessa Mercer tag in a post by Damon Pierce. For a moment, I thought the anesthesia was still playing tricks on me. Damon Pierce was not just an old friend. He was Vanessa's college ex. The man whose name always appeared whenever she wanted me to be mature about something. Damon had a birthday party that night. I knew because Vanessa had mentioned it 3 times that week. "He's been through a lot," she had said while choosing a dark green dress in our bedroom mirror. "I might stop by after work." By then, I had been doubled over on the bathroom floor, sweating through my shirt. "I think I need the ER," I told her. She looked annoyed. "Ryan, I have a client call in 20 minutes. Can you not make everything dramatic?" That was the last full sentence she said to me before I drove myself to urgent care, where a doctor sent me straight to the hospital. Now I tapped the notification. The photo loaded. There was my wife under golden restaurant lights, one arm around Damon's shoulders. Her cheek was angled toward him while he leaned close enough for his lips to almost brush her hair. She wore the green dress, the dress I had bought her for our anniversary dinner, the dinner she had canceled because Damon needed help with a business thing. The caption read, "Happy birthday to the person who taught me that some bonds never really disappear. Some people never stop feeling like home." My chest tightened. Not from surgery. I scrolled. Damon blowing out candles while Vanessa stood behind him with both hands on his shoulders. Vanessa laughing with champagne in her hand. Damon holding a wrap box. I recognized the box before my mind wanted to accept it. A vintage leather watch case. The same one I had seen on our credit card statement 2 days earlier. $4,740. Vanessa had told me it was a client gift. My thumb stopped moving. There are moments in a marriage when a man can lie to himself just to survive. He can tell himself she was busy. She was confused. She made a mistake. She did not understand how bad it looked. She would explain. And then there are moments when the lie cannot carry its own weight anymore. I had been under anesthesia while my wife toasted her ex. The hospital had called her while she posed for photos. She had used money from our life to buy him a gift. My life had become the quiet account she withdrew from to decorate someone else's importance. Then a message appeared at the top of my screen. Damon Pierce. I opened it. 1 sentence. "She came to me while you were under anesthesia. Some bonds win without trying." I stared at the words until they stopped looking like words. Then I took a screenshot. I screenshotted the photos, the caption, the timestamps, the gift, every comment where Vanessa had replied with hearts and laughing emojis. I saved Damon's message and sent everything to Mia. Then I opened my banking app. My personal account looked normal. The joint emergency account did not. For days earlier, $18,000 had been withdrawn. Memo: temporary event deposit. That account was for emergencies. Hospital bills, home repairs, job loss, a sick parent. The kind of disasters that can break a household if you're not ready. Vanessa had used it as a cushion for Damon. When a nurse returned, she held a tablet. "Mr. Mercer," she said carefully, "we called the number listed for your wife 7 times between 8:43 p.m. and 11:12 p.m. 2 voicemails were left. A message was also sent through your patient portal. Can you print that call record? It will be in your file. I want a copy." She looked at me as if she expected rage, tears, maybe a drugged husband making threats he would regret by morning. Instead, I said, "I need to change my emergency contact." Her eyebrows rose. Now. That can wait until later." "No," I said. "Do not call my wife. She is no longer my emergency contact." For the first time since I woke up, the room felt still. The nurse lowered the tablet. "Who would you like to list?" "My sister, Mia Mircher." "All right, I'll bring the forms. And I want Vanessa Mercer removed from any authorization to receive medical information about me." Her expression softened into something close to sympathy. "You understand that means if she calls or comes here, we won't discuss your condition with her." "I understand. Would you like to assign your sister as medical decision-maker as well?" "Yes." The word came out without hesitation because I had hesitated for 7 years. I had hesitated when Vanessa invited Damon to dinner without telling me. I had hesitated when she took his calls in the garage and told me I was insecure. I had hesitated when her mother said a real husband did not keep score. I had hesitated when Damon smiled across my kitchen island and said, "You're lucky, man. Vanessa usually gets bored with safe guys." I had smiled then. I had let it go. Lying in a hospital bed with fresh stitches in my abdomen, I finally understood what letting it go had cost me. It had taught them there would never be a bill. The nurse brought the forms. I signed slowly because my hand was still weak. Emergency contact, Mia Mercer. Authorized medical information recipient, Mia Mercer. Remove previous authorization, Vanessa Mercer. Medical power of attorney packet requested. When the nurse left, I called Mia. She answered on the first ring. "Ryan." Her voice cracked. "Thank God. Are you awake? Are you okay?" "I'm okay," I said. Sore. Angry. But okay. "Where is Vanessa?" "At Damon's birthday party." Silence. Then Mia said quietly, "I saw the posts. You didn't tell me I was in surgery. Thank you for not making your blood pressure explode while you were unconscious." "You're welcome." I almost laughed, but it hurt. "Mia," I said, "I changed my emergency contact to you." The silence changed. "Good. I'm also removing Vanessa from my medical authorization." "Good. I need you to call Daniel Price." "Our attorney?" "My attorney now." "Ryan, I'm not filing because of a bad photo," I said. "I'm filing because the hospital called her 7 times while I was under anesthesia, and she did not answer. I'm filing because she used our emergency fund for Damon. I'm filing because he sent me a message bragging about it. And I'm filing because I finally believe what they've been showing me." Mia, excited. "I'll call Daniel. I also need the bank." "I can handle that." "No," I said. "I need to handle it. I'm the one who kept giving everyone access." My voice steadied. "Call Daniel. Tell him to prepare whatever we need to protect the house, the accounts, the car, the rental agreement with Vanessa's parents, and any debt tied to Damon." Mia did not ask if I was sure. That was why she was now my emergency contact. "I'll be there in 20 minutes, she said. "Bring my laptop. You are not working from a hospital bed." "I'm not working," I said. "I'm stopping the bleeding they didn't stitch." After we hung up, I called the bank. My voice sounded thinner than usual, but the security questions grounded me. Mother's maiden name. Last 4 of Social Security. Recent transaction. The representative asked what I needed. "I need to freeze the joint credit line, pending review. No new charges without approval from both account holders. I also need to remove authorized user privileges from the premium card ending in 4429. Was the card lost or stolen, sir? I looked at the photo of Vanessa holding champagne beside Damon. No, I said. It was misused. By the time Mia arrived, I had frozen the credit line, removed Vanessa's access from my personal card, changed the household account password, and sent Daniel Price every screenshot. Mia came in wearing yesterday's sweatshirt and the same expression she wore when our father died. Controlled worry. No drama. No emoción. She set my laptop bag on the chair. You look terrible. You always know how to comfort man. You had emergency surgery. You're allowed to look terrible. Her eyes moved to the plastic bag with my wedding ring. Did she call? No. Did you call her? No. Good. A soft knock came at the door. The nurse stepped in. Mr. Mercer, there are visitors asking for you. I already knew. Vanessa always arrived late and expected the room to rearrange itself around her entrance. Boo, Mia asked. The nurse looked at me. Your wife is here. Through the narrow window in the door, I saw Vanessa in the green dress. Her makeup was still perfect, though her lipstick had faded. Her hair fell over one shoulder. She looked tired but not ruined. Not yet. Then Damon Pierce stepped into view behind her, wearing the same black shirt from the photos. On his wrist was the watch I had paid for. The nurse asked, "Do you want me to let them in?" I opened the screenshot of Damon's message. She came to me while you were under anesthesia. Some bonds win without trying. Then I looked at Mia. No, I said. No visitors except family. Mia stood beside my bed. The nurse nodded and returned to the hallway. Through the glass, I watched Vanessa's face change. Confusion first, then offense, then a flicker of fear, then pride covering it. Damon leaned toward her ear, smiling like a man who still believed he had won. He did not know I had already started taking back everything he was standing on. Vanessa did not accept no. She never had. In her event planning career, that quality made her powerful. She could make florists redo arrangements 2 hours before a wedding. She could talk hotel managers into upgrading ballrooms. She could make people feel unreasonable for not giving her what she wanted. But a hospital door was not a banquet hall, and a nurse was not a vendor afraid of a bad review. I heard Vanessa's voice rise. I am his wife. You can't keep me from my husband. The nurse answered calmly. Mr. Mercer has changed his visitor permissions. He's medicated. He doesn't know what he's doing. Mia's face hardened. I lifted a hand before she could move. Give me a minute. You don't know her scene, Mia said. No, but I want one clean sentence on record. I pressed the call button. When a nurse returned, I said, please ask security to stay nearby. Then you can let Vanessa in for 2 minutes. Damon stays out. The nurse nodded. That is your choice. Mia leaned close. Ryan, I'm not arguing, I said. I am documenting. When Vanessa entered, the room seemed smaller. She had changed nothing from the party except her expression. The dress, the heels, the perfume, the shimmer on her collarbone. Everything belonged to Damon's birthday. She looked like she had come from a celebration to an inconvenience. Oh my God, she said, pressing a hand to her mouth. I said nothing. She stepped closer. Baby, I came as soon as I heard. Mia made a sound that was almost a laugh. Vanessa's eyes flicked to her. Mia, please. This is between me and my husband. That's funny, Mia said. The hospital thought it was between them and your voicemail. Vanessa flushed. My phone was on silent. 7 calls, I said. She turned back to me. I didn't know it was that serious. I texted you from urgent care. You said you were getting checked. I said they were sending me to the hospital. I was in the middle of something. I know. The quiet answer unsettled her more than shouting would have. She took another step. Damon's birthday had already started. People were there. He was counting on me to help host. You know how much pressure he's under with the restaurant. I looked at her face, searching for the woman I married. There were still pieces of her there. The eyes that used to soften when I came home late. The hands that once held mine in a courthouse when she promised I was her family. But she had walked into my hospital room in the dress she wore for another man and started by explaining his pressure. My appendix ruptured, I said. Her lips parted. You had pressure? I asked. I had internal infection. Don't do that. Do what? Make it sound like I chose him over your life. I let the sentence hang there. The monitor beeped steadily. Mia folded her arms. Vanessa's eyes shone. But I had seen Vanessa produce tears for angry clients and drunk bridesmaids. I waited for evidence. She gave me performance. I made a mistake, she said. I should have checked my phone. But Damon is just Damon. He needed a friend tonight. You're my husband. You're supposed to understand the difference. There it was. The old trick. Damon needed. Ryan should understand. Damon hurt. Ryan should be mature. Damon asked. Ryan should give. I reached for my phone. The movement pulled at my stitches, but I did not let my face change. Do you know what he sent me? Vanessa went still. I turned the screen toward her. She came to me while you were under anesthesia. Some bonds win without trying. Her face lost color. He was drunk, she whispered. He was specific. He didn't mean it like that. I don't care how he meant it. I care that he felt comfortable sending it. She looked toward the door, where Damon's shadow moved behind the glass. Ryan, please don't do this here. Do it here. Embarrass everyone. I looked around the room. Everyone, you know what I mean? I was unconscious on an operating table while my wife ignored 7 hospital calls. I said, if embarrassment is in this room, Vanessa, you brought it in wearing a green dress. Her eyes flashed. That's cruel. No, cruel is using the word home under a photo with your ex while your actual husband is in surgery. She opened her mouth, then closed it. I showed her the folder of screenshots. I saved the posts. The caption, the credit card charge for the watch. The $18,000 transfer from our emergency account. Damon's message. Why are you talking like a lawyer? Because I called one this morning. Fear entered her face. Ryan. No, I kept my voice low. I changed my emergency contact. What? You are no longer my emergency contact. You are no longer authorized to receive medical information about me. Mia is. Vanessa stared as if I had spoken another language. You can't just remove your wife. I did. I'm your wife. You were my emergency contact, I said. You failed at the emergency. The words hit harder than I expected. She stepped back as if struck. You're punishing me. No, I'm protecting myself from you. Her tears came then. Real or not, I cannot tell anymore. Ryan, I panicked. I didn't know what to do. You didn't panic, I said. You posted photos. I didn't know you were in surgery. You knew I was at the hospital. I thought you were being dramatic. That one did it. Mia moved, but I raised my hand again. I wanted Vanessa to hear the silence after what she had just said. After a few seconds, she whispered, I didn't mean that. You did when it mattered. The nurse opened the door slightly. Mr. Mercer, security is outside. Do you want to continue the visit? I looked at Vanessa. She seemed smaller now, but still not sorry enough to stop defending herself. Tell Damon to leave, I said. Then you leave too. I'm not leaving you here alone. I'm not alone, Mia said. He has family. Vanessa's jaw tightened. I am his family. No, I said. Family answers the phone. That was the first public slap. A small room. 2 witnesses. 1 hospital door. But Vanessa felt it. Let me take you home when they discharge you, she pleaded. We could talk there. You won't be signing my discharge papers. Ryan, I don't want you making medical decisions for me. I don't want you driving me while I'm on pain medication. I don't want Damon in the parking lot pretending to support you while watching me bleed. Her eyes darted toward the door. Damon was no longer smiling. 2 minutes are up, I said. The nurse stepped forward. Mrs. Mercer, you need to leave now. Vanessa looked at the nurse like she had forgotten other people could enforce boundaries. This is my husband. Mr. Mercer has made his wishes clear. Security appeared behind the nurse. Vanessa's face burned red. She turned back to me, voice shaking. You're going to regret humiliating me. No, I said. I regret waiting this long. She left. Damon's voice drifted from the hallway. Come on, Van. He's drugged up. Let him cool off. I pressed the call button again. Can security escort both of them off the floor? They did. Mia watched through the window as Damon protested, laughed like the whole thing was beneath him, then finally walked away beside Vanessa. That felt too easy, Mia said. It wasn't easy. I mean Damon. He's going to push back. Good. She turned to me. Good. He thinks I'm reacting emotionally. That means he'll get careless. Mia pulled a folder from her tote and set it on the bed tray. Daniel sent the intake forms. He also said not to drain joint accounts, not to throw her out without legal advice, and not to communicate except in writing if possible. Sounds like Daniel. He also said, and I quote, tell Ryan not to be heroic. He just had surgery. I've never been heroic. Mia looked at me. I looked away first. The truth was, I had mistaken endurance for strength for too long. I had paid bills without complaint. I had let Vanessa's family joke that I was boring because boring men kept roofs from leaking and insurance active. I had pretended not to notice when Damon started appearing in places he had not earned. But there is a difference between being steady and being used as flooring. I opened Daniel's folder. The first page read, Marital Asset Protection Checklist. Under it, Daniel had typed, document everything. Communicate clearly. Recover assets lawfully. Do not be baited. I almost smiled. That was exactly the kind of revenge I could survive. My phone buzzed. Vanessa, you're being cruel. Damon feels awful. He wants to apologize when you calm down. Then another. My parents are furious. You made me look like a monster in front of strangers. I typed one sentence. From now on, all communication about our marriage goes through counsel or text. She responded immediately. Are you seriously choosing divorce over one mistake? I looked at the form in my hand, the surgical dressing under the blanket, the hospital door she had not been allowed to enter twice. Then I typed, no, I'm choosing it over 7 calls you didn't answer. 2 days later, I was discharged. During those 48 hours, Vanessa sent 23 texts. She tried every version of herself. Offended, I can't believe you let security remove me like a criminal. Wounded, I cried in the parking garage for an hour, and you didn't even ask if I was okay. Practical, we need to talk before your sister poisons you against me. And then the most dangerous version. Soft, familiar, I miss my husband. Please come home so I can take care of you. I answered only with Daniel's approved line. I am recovering. Communicate in writing. Do not come to the hospital again. On the morning I left, Mia pulled her SUV to the hospital entrance. She had packed a pillow for the seatbelt, picked up my medication, and brought loose sweatpants because she knew I would rather limp barefoot across broken glass than wear hospital clothes in public. You sure you want to go to the house? She asked. I need documents. I can get them. I know where everything is. Ryan, Vanessa might be there. I'm not going there to fight. She might be. Then she'll be disappointed. The drive home took 18 minutes. I counted every pothole with my stitches. Our house sat on a quiet street lined with maple trees and overwatered lawns. I had bought it 9 years earlier, before I married Vanessa, before Damon came back, before her family treated my stability like a utility. It was a craftsman house with a deep porch, blue-gray siding, and old windows I had restored by hand because I knew how to fix things other people replaced. Vanessa once called it our forever house. The deed had only ever had my name on it. When Mia turned onto our street, I saw 3 cars outside. Vanessa's white SUV, her mother's black sedan, Damon's silver coupe. I laughed once, sharply. It hurt enough to make me grip the door. Mia's Lod, do you want to keep driving? No. Ryan, you just had surgery. And they know that, I said. That's why they picked today. Balloons were tied to the porch railing. Welcome home, Ryan. The letters bobbed in the wind, cheerful and stupid. Mia touched my arm. Recording? Already on. I had started the audio recording when we turned onto the street. One-party consent was legal in our state, and Daniel had confirmed it twice. Vanessa opened the front door before I reached the porch. She wore a cream sweater and jeans. Her hair was pulled back like a woman ready to nurse her husband with soup and forgiveness. Behind her, I smelled roast chicken, her mother's perfume, coffee, and Damon's cologne. Ryan, Vanessa said, eyes bright. Welcome home. I stopped at the bottom step. What is this? Just family, she said. Everyone wanted to support you. Damon appeared in the doorway, holding a mug from my kitchen. My mug. The blue one Mia gave me after our father's funeral. The one that said, keep going in chipped white letters. He lifted it slightly. Hey man, glad you made it. Mia stepped forward. Put the mug down. Damon blinked. Excuse me? That mug belongs to our dead father, she said. Put it down before I take it from your hand. For once, Damon listened. Vanessa's smile vanished. Mia, that's unnecessary. So, is inviting your ex to a surgical recovery ambush. It's not an ambush, Vanessa snapped, then looked at me and softened. Ryan, please come inside. My mom ate food. Damon wanted to apologize. We all thought it would be better if we talked calmly. Calmly, I repeated. With your mother, your ex, and balloons. Her mother appeared behind Damon. Linda Vale was small, elegant, and sharp enough to cut fabric by looking at it. "Ryan," she said, "don't start. Vanessa is trying." A decent man accepts an apology when his wife makes one mistake. I looked at all of them, standing inside my house like they had been invited to inspect the floor plan. "Move," I said. Vanessa frowned. "What?" "I'm coming in to collect documents. Everyone else leaves." Linda scoffed. "This is Vanessa's home, too. It is my house." The temperature changed. Vanessa's face tightened. "Our house, Ryan." "My house," I said. "Purchased before marriage. Deed to my name. Down payment for my father's estate. Separate property acknowledgement signed before refinance." Damon's eyes moved to Vanessa. That gave me more satisfaction than it should have. Vanessa laughed weakly. "You're talking about deeds on the porch?" "Yes," I said, "because your mother just called at your home while standing beside your ex." Linda stepped forward. "You would throw your recovering wife into the street?" "Vanessa is not recovering from surgery." "You know what I mean?" "I do," I said. "You mean I should absorb the consequences of her choices because I have always done that before?" Vanessa whispered, "Ryan, stop." "No." The word came easily now. Not loud, not cruel, complete. Inside, the house had been staged. Flowers on the table, soup on the stove, a folded blanket on the couch, our wedding album open on the coffee table to a photo of Vanessa laughing under rose petals. Damon's jacket hung over the back of a dining chair. I kept walking. My office was at the back of the house. The lockbox was behind the lower shelf, bolted into the wall. I opened it and removed the deed, refinance documents, tax records, vehicle titles, insurance policies, and the folder Daniel told me to find. Vanessa followed. "You kept all that here?" "Yes." "Like you were planning this." "No," I said. "Like an adult." She flinched. In the kitchen, I opened a drawer and removed spare keys from a ceramic bowl. Then I saw a black key fob I recognized. Garage side door. Damon's. I picked it up. "Why does Damon have a key to my house?" Vanessa's mouth parted. Damon said quickly, "It was just for deliveries." "What deliveries?" "For the welcome home thing," Vanessa said. "When did you give it to him?" She looked away. "Vanessa, 2 months ago." Mia muttered something that would have disappointed our grandmother. I photographed the key fob and put it in my pocket. "Locks are being changed today." Linda exploded. "You cannot lock my daughter out of her marital home." "I'm not locking Vanessa out today. Daniel will handle legal occupancy. But Damon never enters this house again." Damon scoffed. "You think you can ban me?" "Yes." He turned to Vanessa. "Van, are you going to let him talk to me like I'm some thief?" Vanessa looked between us. For 1 second, I thought she might finally understand. Then she said, "Ryan," he gave the key back. "Don't make this bigger." I nodded slowly. "Okay." She relaxed, mistaking quiet for surrender again. I opened my banking app and turned the screen toward her. "Then make this smaller. Explain the $18,000 transfer." Her face emptied. Damon went still. Linda stepped closer. "What transfer?" I read aloud. "Joint emergency account. $18,000. Memo. Temporary event deposit. Recipient. Pierce Hospitality Holdings." The kitchen went silent. Vanessa whispered, "I was going to tell you after the launch." Damon needed to secure the venue and vendor deposits. It was temporary. From our emergency account. I knew you would say no. Because I would have. Damon cleared his throat. "It's a loan. Relax." I looked at him. "Show me the promissory note." He smiled. "We're friends. We don't need all that." "We are not friends." Vanessa said, "Ryan, please." "He'll pay it back." "No," I said. "You will." "What?" "That money left a marital emergency account at your direction. Daniel will include it in the divorce accounting." Her eyes filled again. "You can't be serious." "I am." Linda pointed at me. "You are sick. Your mind isn't right." I zipped the laptop bag slowly. "My mind was clear enough to change my emergency contact," I said. "It's clear enough to recognize theft dressed as kindness." Damon's jaw twitched. "Careful." "That sounded like a threat," Mia said, lifting her phone. "Want to repeat it for the recording?" For the first time, Damon looked less like a charming man at a party and more like a debtor near a locked door. I turned to Vanessa. "From now on, all household bills tied to my personal accounts are being reviewed. Your authorized card is canceled. The joint credit line is frozen. The emergency account requires both signatures. The car you drive is titled to me, and Daniel will contact you about continued use during separation. Her voice cracked. You're stripping my life apart. No, I said. I'm taking my life out of yours. On the porch, Vanessa followed me. Ryan, wait. I stopped but did not turn. My mom is hosting Sunday dinner. Everyone will be there. Come, please. We can explain this before it gets worse. I looked back. Damon stood behind her in my doorway. Linda stood beside him like a judge. Vanessa stood on my porch, asking me to enter another room arranged to make me small. I'll come, I said. Her shoulders dropped in relief, but not to apologize. The relief vanished. Behind me, one of the welcome home balloons broke loose, floated upward, and tore open in the maple branches. Vanessa's parents lived in my rental house. That was the part her family always left out when they call me cold. The house was a 2-bedroom brick bungalow 15 minutes from downtown. I had bought it before marrying Vanessa, fixed the plumbing myself, refinished the floors with Mia on weekends, and rented it to a quiet couple until Vanessa's father lost his job. Linda cried at our kitchen table back then. We only need a few months, she said. Family helps family. A few months became 4 years. The rent stayed at half market value. I covered the taxes. I replaced the water heater. I fixed the porch railing after Vanessa's brother Tyler backed into it with a motorcycle I had also helped him buy. Family helps family. Funny how that sentence only traveled in one direction. Sunday dinner began at 6. I arrived at 6:04 with Mia and a folder Daniel had prepared. There were 8 cars on the street. Subtle, Mia said. I think we're past subtle. Inside, the dining room table had been extended. Vanessa's parents sat at one end, Vanessa at the other. Tyler lounged near the sideboard, scrolling his phone. 2 aunts, a cousin, and a neighbor who always appeared when Linda wanted witnesses filled the remaining chairs. Damon sat beside Vanessa. Of course he did. When I entered, conversation stopped. Linda stood first. Ryan, good. Sit down. Not hello. Not how are you feeling after emergency surgery. Just command. I'll stand. Damon smiled. Ryan, before this gets weird, I want to say I'm sorry about the hospital thing. The hospital thing, Mia repeated. He ignored her. I shouldn't have come with Van. I see that now. But you've got to understand. She was scared too. I looked at Vanessa. Were you? Her eyes dropped. Linda slapped her napkin beside her plate. Enough, Ryan. You made your point in the hospital. You embarrassed my daughter in front of nurses. You embarrassed her again at your house. Now you're going to listen. There it was. The trial they had prepared. Thomas cleared his throat. Marriage is not about keeping score. Vanessa made a mistake. A man forgives. Tyler snorted. A secure man forgives. Mia smiled. Tyler, you still owe Ryan $800 for tires. His face darkened. Stay out of this. Linda pointed at Mia. This is family business. Then Damon should leave, I said. Damon leaned back. I'm here because I'm part of why everyone is upset. No, I said. You're here because you enjoy being defended by another man's wife. Vanessa flinched. I nodded to Mia. She handed me the first page. Hospital call log, I said. Vanessa's face tightened. I placed it on the table. 7 calls to Vanessa Mercer between 8:43 p.m. and 11:12 p.m. 2 voicemails. 1 patient portal message. During that time, Vanessa posted 4 photos from Damon's birthday party. No one moved. I placed the screenshots beside the call log. The caption reads, some people never stop feeling like home. One aunt looked at Vanessa. Linda recovered first. Social media captions are not evidence of betrayal. No, I said. They are evidence of priorities. Damon laughed under his breath. Come on, that's poetic language. I placed his message on the table. She came to me while you were under anesthesia. Some bonds win without trying. The cousin leaned forward. Vanessa whispered, Damon. His smile disappeared. It was a joke. In writing, I said, you're really going to use a drunk text? I'm going to use everything. Then came the credit card statement. The $4,740 watch. The $18,000 transfer. The lease agreement showing Linda and Thomas lived in my rental property at half market rent. Tyler's unpaid tuition support. One by one, the papers landed on the table. The room had begun safely against me. By the time I finished, it was no longer safe. Aunt Carol picked up the call log. Vanessa, she said quietly. 7 calls. Vanessa's eyes filled. I didn't know. Carol looked at the party photo. You were holding your phone in this one. Vanessa looked away. Damon stood. This is insane. Ryan brought a court packet to dinner like some kind of psycho. I looked at him. A psycho would have hit you. I brought receipts. Mia laughed once. Damon pointed at her. You think this is funny? I think you're wearing debt like cologne. His face hardened. Vanessa rose. Everyone sit down. Please, Ryan. We can discuss money privately. You made the betrayal public. I didn't post it to hurt you. You posted it because you forgot I mattered. She folded at that. But I did not stop. Daniel later found Damon had posted a video describing himself as a friend being targeted by a jealous husband. He tagged the restaurant. That made the financial fraud public too. Damon thought optics would save him. He forgot optics work both ways when evidence exists. Within days, the story grew larger. Daniel found a private lender packet for Damon's restaurant. My name was listed as guarantor for a $52,000 operating loan. I had never signed it. The email attached was a fake variation of my name. Ryan Mercer Consulting at a generic mail service. Then an event worker from the Layton Hotel contacted me. Her name was Elise Grant. She had seen Damon's video and knew it was a lie. She sent a hallway clip from the night of the party. In it, Vanessa held her phone and said, "The hospital called again." Damon laughed. If it was serious, they'd call someone else. Ryan will forgive you by breakfast. That man's whole personality is making your life easier. Vanessa did not laugh. She also did not leave. That video ended the last lie she had told me. I didn't know. No, she knew enough to choose. 10 days after surgery, I started physical therapy. My therapist, Jenna, had no patience for male pride. Your core went through trauma, she told me. If you try to prove you're fine, you'll set yourself back. I'm not trying to prove anything. She looked over her glasses. You just try to pick up your own laptop bag. It was a bag. It had a laptop in it. Sit down. Vanessa arrived 20 minutes into my second session. Camel coat. Perfect hair. Shadowed eyes. She tried to get past reception. The receptionist shook her head. Vanessa saw me through the glass. Jenna asked, "Do you want security?" Not yet. I walked into the waiting area. Vanessa looked at the way I moved, slow and careful, and guilt flickered across her face. Good. Let her see what she missed. Ryan, she said, why are you here? I needed to talk somewhere you couldn't just shut the door. Mia appeared behind me. That sounds like harassment with extra steps. Vanessa ignored her. 5 minutes. Say it in front of Mia. Her jaw tightened. Fine. Damon's investors are pulling back. That cease and desist letter terrified them. Good. Ryan, he's not a criminal. He used my name in a loan document. He says it was a misunderstanding. Then he can explain it to Daniel. You're destroying him. No, I said. I'm refusing to be collateral. People in the waiting room pretended not to listen. Vanessa lowered her voice. You love humiliating me now. I loved you quietly for years, I said. You only call it humiliation because other people can finally hear the truth. She softened herself then, pulling on the old familiar tone. I messed up. I know that. I should have answered. I should have left. I should have told Damon no. But divorce lawyers threatening my parents' housing, taking my card. Ryan, this is not who you are. That is exactly who I am, I said. I protect what I'm responsible for. I just stopped confusing responsibility with surrender. I'm your wife. You were. I still am. Legally. Temporarily. The word struck her hard. Then a legal courier entered. Mr. Ryan Mercer? I'm Ryan. She turned to Vanessa. Mrs. Mercer, you have been served. Vanessa stared at the envelope as if it were a weapon. The courier placed it on the counter. This includes petition for dissolution of marriage, temporary financial restraining notice, request for preservation of records, and notice regarding disputed charges and suspected unauthorized financial commitments. Vanessa's voice was thin. You served me here? You came here, I said. Her eyes snapped to mine. You planned this. No, Daniel planned to serve you at your office this afternoon. You chose to come to my medical appointment. Actions have consequences. She clutched the envelope to her coat. You are cruel. No, I said. I'm on schedule. Jenna appeared behind me. Mr. Mercer, your 6 minutes are up. Vanessa looked at her, then at me. You're going back in there? Yes. We're not done. I am. Later, more evidence arrived. Vanessa had signed Damon's birthday event agreement as co-host. She had used my card for hotel bar charges and event charges. A party guest sent a voice memo. Vanessa's toast played through Mia's phone. To Damon, Vanessa's voice said, warm and bright. Some people spend years proving they know your heart. Some people just never left it. Then Damon's voice. To Vanessa, the only woman who still shows up when it matters. When it matters. That was the problem. She had shown up when it mattered. She had just decided I did not. Friday came, Damon's restaurant launch. Pierce and Vine smelled like ambition and unpaid invoices. The place was beautiful. Exposed brick, dark green booths, brass fixtures, marble bar, soft lighting designed for photographs before food. Vanessa stood beside Damon like the hostess of his future. She saw me first. Her smile fell apart. I entered with Mia and Daniel. Damon approached. Ryan, private event. You weren't invited. Daniel handed him a card. Mr. Mercer is here regarding disputed charges, property recovery, and preservation of evidence. We can be brief unless you prefer formality in front of your investors. Damon looked at the card, then at me. You brought a lawyer to my launch. You brought my wife to my hospital. Vanessa stepped forward. Ryan, please. Not tonight. That was the hospital's line, Mia said. Damon raised his voice just enough to gather attention. Everyone, this is Ryan Mercer, Vanessa's husband. He's been going through a rough health situation, and emotions are running high. There it was. Poor sick husband. Jealous. Emotional. Unstable. Damon placed a hand over his heart. Pierce and Vine is built on community, friendship, and second chances. We don't believe in public conflict. I looked at Daniel. He nodded. Good, I said. Then we'll keep this factual. I faced the room. My name is Ryan Mercer. 10 days ago, I underwent emergency surgery after a ruptured appendix. During that surgery, the hospital called my wife, Vanessa, 7 times. She did not answer. Silence. At the same time, she was celebrating Mr. Pierce's birthday. Mr. Pierce later sent me a message stating, she came to me while you were under anesthesia. Some bonds win without trying. The reporter raised her camera. Damon laughed too loudly. This is exactly what I mean. Private marital pain does not belong at a restaurant opening. I nodded. Agreed. Financial fraud does. The woman in the red suit near the bar turned fully. Daniel opened his folder. Pierce Hospitality Holdings received $18,000 from a joint emergency account belonging to Ryan and Vanessa Mercer. No promissory note has been produced. Mr. Mercer did not approve the transfer. Additional event charges connected to Mr. Pierce's birthday and restaurant promotion were placed on Mr. Mercer's personal card. Damon snapped. Vanessa authorized those. Vanessa was not authorized to use marital emergency funds for your business, Daniel said. The woman in red stepped forward. Damon, did you receive $18,000 from their joint account? It was temporary. Did you disclose it as a personal loan from Vanessa Mercer? Damon hesitated. Her face changed. That was the second public slap. Not from me. From someone whose money Damon actually feared. Daniel removed another page. We also have concerns regarding a guarantor statement submitted to a private lender bearing Mr. Mercer's name. Damon's eyes flashed. You don't want to do this here. You said you believe in community, I said. This is the community you asked for money. Vanessa grabbed my sleeve. I looked down at her hand. She let go. Ryan, she whispered. You're ruining everything. No, I said. I'm correcting the sponsorship list. Damon stepped closer and lowered his voice. You think you've won because you have paperwork. She still came to me. The room was quiet enough that several people heard him. Vanessa closed her eyes. I looked at him fully. Without my money, Vanessa's guilt, and a room willing to believe his version, Damon was just a man in an expensive shirt standing under lights he could not afford. Yes, I said. She came to you. That's why I'm leaving her there. The words traveled through the room. Vanessa's face crumpled. Then a recovery agent arrived. The white SUV was parked outside. It was titled to me. Vanessa had refused to return it after written demand and had texted that she needed it for Damon's launch. Now it was being repossessed. Through the windows, the tow truck lights flashed. Vanessa pressed both hands to her face. This is humiliating. I said nothing. I did not tell her not to embarrass everyone. I did not tell her to be mature. I let her feel the public weight of a private choice. Then the investor, Melissa, picked up the demand letter and saw the guarantor dispute. Damon, she said slowly, Why is there a guarantor issue on the bridge funding? He reached for the letter. She pulled it away. Answer me. He looked at Vanessa. Calculation. Not love. Not loyalty. Calculation. Vanessa saw it too. You told me Ryan would never check, she whispered. The restaurant went silent. Damon's eyes widened. Daniel made a note. The camera clicked. That was the moment the room understood the story was no longer about jealousy. It was about access, money, identity, fraud. Court was quieter than people imagine. No thunder when a lie enters. No music when evidence appears. Just fluorescent lights with benches, tired clerks, and judges who have heard every version of "it's complicated" from people who made it complicated themselves. At the temporary orders hearing, Vanessa arrived in a navy dress with her wedding ring on. I noticed because I was not wearing mine. Her lawyer, Rachel Stone, looked competent and deeply unhappy to have inherited the case. Damon did not attend. That told me he was either smart enough to hide or cowardly enough to let Vanessa face the debris. Probably both. Rachel argued that I had financially cut Vanessa off in a punitive way. Daniel answered with records. Unauthorized charges. Emergency fund transfer. Vehicle title. Rental property lease. Separate property acknowledgement for my house. Then he introduced the suspected forged guarantor packet. The judge looked up. Mrs. Mercer, did you provide Mr. Pierce with your husband's social security number? Vanessa shook her head quickly. No, I don't think so. Rachel whispered to her. Vanessa corrected herself. I may have had documents in my office. Damon helped me organize files during a home event. I never gave him permission to use Ryan's information. I looked at her. For once, there was no defiance in her face. Only fear. The temporary orders came 20 minutes later. Vanessa could not use the vehicle. Neither party could take debt in the other's name. The joint account remained restricted. Damon-related expenses had to be documented separately. Both parties had to preserve communications, bank records, posts, and event contracts. Vanessa could collect personal belongings from the house at scheduled times. Damon was prohibited from entering. The house appeared to be my separate property, subject only to later accounting. In the hallway afterward, Vanessa broke near the vending machines. Not loudly. Vanessa hated scenes unless she directed them. Ryan, she said. Daniel's look told me to keep walking. I stopped anyway. Did you know? She asked. Know what? That Damon used your information. No, I didn't either. I believe that. Relief cracked through her. Then I said, I also believe you gave him enough access to try. The relief died. He said you would never really leave, she whispered. He said you always cooled down, that you liked being needed, that if I cried, you would come home. That hurt because it was true. I had trained them. Every bill I covered. Every insult I dismissed. Every late-night call from Damon I ignored because Vanessa said I was jealous. I had taught her there was no cliff. Only more road. There is no home to come back to, I said. Her face crumpled. I was stupid. I was selfish. I liked feeling important to him again, but I didn't think you'd really erase me. I didn't erase you. I removed access. That sounds so cold. It is cold. It is also accurate. She asked if we could talk once without lawyers. No, I said. Why? Because you're still asking for access before accountability. As I turned away, she called after me. If I had answered the phone that night, would you still be here? I stopped, but did not face her. If you had answered the phone, I said, Damon would have known where your real home was. The first real collapse in Vanessa's life was not emotional. It was logistical. Passwords, car keys, auto-pay failures, insurance forms, lease notices, credit cards she thought were hers but had always been quietly fed by my income. Tyler called me furious about tuition. Linda emailed me a sermon about shame. I saved everything and sent it to Daniel. I no longer responded to guilt invoices. When Vanessa later admitted Damon had disappeared, that he would not answer her calls, that investors were looking for him, she texted. I think he used me too for a long time. There was a wounded part of me that wanted to call, not to forgive, not to reconcile, just to hear her say it out loud. But Daniel's words returned. Access before accountability. I typed, send all Damon-related records to your attorney. She replied, that's all you have to say? I looked around the kitchen I had tiled myself, the counters we had chosen together, the empty hook where her keys used to hang. Then I typed, yes. Her next message was, I don't know who to call anymore. I did not answer. For 7 years, she always knew who to call. She had just forgotten calls could stop being answered too. Linda tried one final ambush. She called it a family healing dinner. She invited me, Mia, relatives, Pastor Allen, Vanessa, and, because she had no restraint, Damon. Daniel told me not to attend. I attended with Daniel and Mia. The dinner was at Leighton Grill, attached to the same hotel where Damon's birthday party had happened. Inside the private room, Vanessa looked exhausted. Linda sat beside her like a guard dog in pearls. Thomas looked miserable. Tyler looked angry. Pastor Allen looked confused. Damon stood near the bar. I stopped in the doorway. Daniel smiled without warmth. Bold. Linda stood. Ryan, before you say anything, Damon came to apologize and help heal this. Mia asked, does healing come with a repayment schedule? Pastor Allen cleared his throat. Perhaps we should all sit. Daniel said pleasantly, standing is fine until we understand whether Mr. Pierce is represented by counsel tonight. Damon laughed. You don't scare me. That explains your document trail, Daniel said. Linda slammed her hand on the table. Enough legal poison. Ryan, look at my daughter. You are hurting her. I looked at Vanessa. There was no performance in her face that night. No soft manipulation. No palistepaligi. Just exhaustion. Ryan, she said, I didn't know Damon would be here. I believe you. Linda snapped Vanessa. Vanessa did not look away from me. I told Mom not to invite him. Damon scoffed. Don't do that, Van. She turned on him. Don't call me that. The room leaned in. I opened the folder. Hospital timeline. Party photos. Toast transcript. Damon's message. Credit card charges. Hotel suite hold. The $18,000 transfer. Then Daniel placed the guarantor packet on the table. A private lending document listing me as guarantor for Damon's restaurant debt, I said. I did not sign it. I did not authorize it. The IP trail connects submission to Pierce and Vine. Vanessa's email forwarded a scan of my insurance file 3 weeks before submission. Pastor Allen whispered, my God. Damon exploded. This is a setup. Vanessa stood slowly. Damon, she said, voice shaking. Tell them you didn't use Ryan's social security number. He pointed at me. He's twisting everything. Tell them, Vanessa. Tell them. The room froze. Damon's charm tried to rise and failed. You knew Ryan would never support us, he said. Us. The word landed like broken glass. Vanessa staggered back. Damon kept going, angry and careless now. You said he handled all the boring money. You said he kept files on everything. I used what was available to save the business you promised to help me build. Linda whispered, Damon, stop. But the door had opened, and he ran through it carrying gasoline. You want out too, he snapped at Vanessa. Don't stand there like you didn't call him safe and suffocating. You said he would never leave because he needs to be needed. Every person at that table heard it. No one could turn it into insecurity now. Daniel's phone had been recording openly on the table since we entered. Damon noticed too late. You recorded me? You were in a room full of witnesses making statements about suspected financial misconduct, Daniel said. Damon shoved a chair backward. Mia stepped in front of me. Tyler, of all people, grabbed Damon's arm. Don't, Tyler said. Security arrived 30 seconds later. Then police. Damon shouted that he had not hit anyone. The officer said, then lower your voice and keep it that way. That was the 4th public slap. Not dramatic exposure. Not investor suspicion. Just a uniformed officer telling Damon the room no longer belonged to his performance. When security escorted him out, Vanessa followed him with her eyes, but not her feet. That mattered. Not enough to save us, but enough to show the spell had broken. Thomas finally spoke. Ryan, he said quietly, I'm sorry. I should have called after the hospital. I should have asked if you were all right. It was small. It was late. But it was the first honest sentence I had heard from that family in weeks. I nodded once. Vanessa stepped toward me. I did say those things, she whispered. Safe. Suffocating. Needed. I said them because I was selfish and stupid. And because Damon made selfish sound brave. I know that doesn't fix anything, she added. No, I said. It doesn't. But it's true. Truth is useful, I said. It is not a time machine. Then I left. Outside, Vanessa called after me. I don't know how to be nobody's emergency. I looked at her under the hotel lights. You should learn, I said, before you ask to be someone's home. By the time the divorce reached settlement conference, Damon had become a separate case number. Identity misuse, fraudulent documents, civil demand, investor claims, a police report backed by emails, IP logs, lender records, and his own words at the Leighton dinner. He tried to blame Vanessa, then his assistant, then me, claiming I had verbally agreed to support the restaurant because I was like family. Daniel enjoyed that one. People rarely commit fraud against strangers, he said. They commit it against people whose forgiveness they miscalculate. Vanessa turned over records through Rachel. Some helped her. Some hurt her. Most did both. She had not forged my signature, but she had forwarded Damon scans of household financial files, insurance documents, and partial personal information because he told her investors needed to know she had stable support. Stable support. I had become a phrase in another man's pitch deck. The settlement conference took hours. Vanessa wanted spousal support. No, she wanted half the house. No, she accepted reimbursement only for documented marital improvements. The vehicle remained mine. The $18,000 became dissipation against her side. Damon-related debts stayed with whoever authorized or incurred them. Her parents received the legal notice period and no more. Tyler's tuition was not discussed again. Before the final paperwork, Vanessa asked for one apology session. With attorneys present, I agreed to 10 minutes. She entered without her wedding ring. I had not expected that to hurt. She sat across from me. "I'm sorry I didn't answer," she said. "Not the old way. Not, I made a mistake. Not Damon needed me." She swallowed. The nurse called 7 times and I stayed. I saw the calls. I told myself if it was serious, someone would handle it. I told myself you were always responsible, always prepared, always okay. I made your strength into an excuse not to show up. My throat tightened. I hated that it still could. At the party, Damon made me feel like the girl I used to be, she continued. Before bills, before clients, before marriage felt ordinary. He told me I deserved to be seen. And instead of asking why I needed another man to see me, I let him make you invisible. She cried quietly. I didn't sleep with him. I know that may not matter now. It doesn't matter enough, I said. She nodded. I gave him access because I wanted to believe helping him was generous, not disloyal. I forwarded documents because he said investors wanted proof I had stability. He said you were my stability anyway. I never asked what right he had to use you. Then she looked at my hands. You don't wear your ring. No, I still reach for mine. I said nothing. If I had answered the phone that night, she asked, would we be here? This time I answered fully. If you had answered the phone, I might have kept lying to myself longer. That night did not create the problem. It revealed it in a way I could not excuse. She nodded through tears. I don't want Damon. I don't want parties or old feelings or being someone's unfinished story. I want my husband. You wanted your husband after the party ended. Her face crumpled. I know I don't deserve another chance. Then don't ask for one. The room held its breath. I'm not saying that to punish you, I said. I'm saying it because the answer is no, and I won't dress it up as maybe. She closed her eyes. What happens now? We finish the divorce. And after, you recover without me. Yes. For the first time, she did not argue with the consequence. The final decree arrived on a Thursday. No Sander. No Kortrumgasp. Just an email from Daniel at 10:17 a.m. Final judgment and decree of dissolution. I opened at my kitchen table. The same table where Vanessa once planned seating charts. Where Damon's name had first appeared on an event list. Where I had signed tax returns, paid Tyler's tuition, approved roof repairs for Linda and Thomas, and convinced myself that responsibility was proof of love. Now the table held coffee, a pen, my laptop, and a divorce decree. Mia sat across from me, pretending not to watch my face. You don't have to read it all now, she said. I know. I read it all. Marital status dissolved. Property confirmed. Vehicle confirmed. Debt allocation confirmed. Insurance obligations terminated according to law. Vanessa kept the name Mercer. That surprised me. Then I realized I did not care enough to ask why. Daniel called 5 minutes later. It's done. Yes. How do you feel? Like I've been holding a heavy box for years, and someone finally told me I can set it down. That sounds healthy. Don't sound so surprised. I'm a divorce attorney. Healthy is rare. He reviewed the remaining tasks. Beneficiary forms. Insurance updates. Estate documents, medical directive, security records, rental transition, fraud case cooperation. Nothing dramatic. Everything important. After the call, Mia slid a folder across the table. What's this? Updated medical directive. You need to sign in front of witnesses. Esther de Hair. She shrugged. What? I'm your emergency contact. I take my job seriously. For the first time in months, I laughed without pain. That afternoon, I had my final surgical follow-up. The hospital looked the same. That annoyed me. Places where your life changes should look different when you return. The entrance should have a marker. The elevator should remember. The hallway should say, "This is where you learned who would answer." At check-in, the receptionist confirmed my information. Emergency contact, still Mia Mercer? Yes. Authorized medical information recipient, also Mia Mercer? Yes. Marital status? I paused. Divorce, she typed without expression. To her, it was one field among many. To me, it was a door closing quietly and completely. The surgeon cleared me for normal activity with common sense limits. No hero lifting, no ignoring pain, no pretending recovery had to impress anyone. As I left the exam room, I saw Vanessa near the vending machines. My body forgot the divorce decree for 1 second. It remembered 7 years. She wore a beige coat and held a paper cup of coffee with both hands. Her hair was shorter. Her face was thinner. She looked like a woman who had been sleeping but not resting. Ryan, she said. I stopped several feet away. Did you follow me here? No, she said quickly. I had an appointment downstairs. Therapy. I didn't know you'd be here. But when I saw your name on the directory screen, I waited. Vanessa, I know I'm not supposed to corner you. I just wanted to say one thing without lawyers. I should have walked away, but there was no hook at her voice now. No Damon emergency. No family audience. No performance waiting for my response. One thing, I said. She nodded. Damon took a plea deal. Daniel had told me that morning. Damon had admitted to identity misuse connected to the guarantor packet and agreed to restitution as part of a larger settlement with investors. Pierce and Vine never opened. The investors withdrew. The landlord terminated the lease. The birthday photos were gone from his page, but not from the internet. He asked me to write a character letter, Vanessa said. I said nothing. I didn't. It did not heal anything. But it was the first wise choice I had heard from her in a long time. Good, I said. Her eyes filled. I keep thinking about that night. The calls. The toast. The hallway video. I keep thinking there was a version of me that could have walked out of that party, driven to the hospital, and still been your wife. There was. The answer hurt her. I saw it, but she did not argue. That is the part you have to live with, I said. She nodded, tears slipping down her face. I'm trying. I hope you do. She looked up. Do you? Yes. It was true, and it cost me less than I expected. I did not need Vanessa ruined. I needed her removed from places where her choices could ruin me. She wiped her cheek. I still love you. I looked at the woman I had married. The woman who had failed me. The woman who had finally stopped defending the man she chose while I was under anesthesia. I know, I said. Hope flickered in her face. I ended it before it could grow. But I don't live where you left me. Her breath caught. You love me like a safety net, I said. You remembered me when falling started to hurt. That is not the kind of love I can build a life on. She covered her mouth. I'm not saying that to punish you. I know, she whispered. I'm saying it because it's true. She nodded again. This time, she did not reach for me. After a moment, she asked, Your emergency contact. Is it still Mia? Yes. A small, broken smile touched her mouth. Good. I had not expected that. She looked toward the hallway. You were right. Family answers the phone. I said nothing. She stepped aside, clearing the path to the elevator. Goodbye, Ryan. Goodbye, Vanessa. I walked past her. Not quickly. Not cruelly. Just forward. Outside. The late afternoon sun turned the hospital glass gold. The air was cold and clean. My phone buzzed. Mia, how did the appointment go? And before you lie, remember I have emergency contact authority and sister instincts. I smiled. Cleared. Scar looks good. No hero lifting. She replied immediately. Miracle. Dinner tonight. I'm making pasta. You're bringing nothing. I typed. I can bring bread. Her answer came fast. You can bring yourself. That is the assignment. I looked at the message for a long time. You can bring yourself. For years, I had believed love meant being useful enough not to be discarded. Pay the bill, fix the sink, calm the room, cover the debt, forgive the insult, be steady, be safe, be there when called, even when no one answered you. Now I was learning something quieter. The people who loved me did not need me unconscious to remember my name. They did not need a crisis to prove their place. They did not ask me to bleed politely so no one else felt embarrassed. I got in my old dark blue truck, not the white SUV. That had been sold after the decree. The truck started on the first try. At a red light, I opened my medical app. Emergency contact, Mia Mercer. Relationship, sister. Authorized medical decision maker, Mia Mercer. No other names. I closed the app. The light turned green. I drove without music. The city moved around me, full of people going home, leaving work, meeting friends, answering calls, missing calls, making choices that would become ordinary or permanent depending on who got hurt. At Mia's house, she opened the door before I knocked. "Where's the bread?" she asked. "You said bring myself." I said that because I knew you'd forget the bread. I did not forget. I obeyed instructions. She narrowed her eyes. Growth. Inside, the kitchen smelled like garlic and tomatoes. Her husband waved from the stove. My niece ran past wearing socks with cats on them and shouted, "Uncle Ryan, you're not allowed to lift me yet." "I know," I called. "Doctor's orders." She stopped, considered this, then ran back and hugged my leg carefully. I looked down at her small arms around my knee. Something in my chest loosened. Not healed, not fully, but loosened. Mia watched me from the kitchen, her face softer than her words ever were. "You okay?" she asked. I thought about the hospital bed, the green dress, the 7 calls, Damon's message, Vanessa's tears, the courthouse, the decree, the receptionist asking for my emergency contact like it was just another line on a form. Then I looked at the people in front of me. "Yes," I said, and for the first time since surgery, the word did not feel like an argument. It felt like a beginning.